Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. It's another day, it's another book haul. Today is part 2 of my big old quarantine book haul. Part 1 was posted on Thursday, so if you haven't watched it yet, go check it out. But today's video is going to be part 2 of my haul, basically all the books that I got back in June. And once again, it's going to be mostly historical romances because I just can't stop myself from buying it. And then I see my friends buying them and we just all kind of enable each other into buying more books, more historical romances. So I'll just start off with all the historicals I got, and Boo is with me here today. Say hi, boy. I started off the last video's haul with Joanna Lindsey, so why not start off with her again. I got 5 books from Joanna Lindsey. Once a Princess, which is actually the very first book that I ever read from Joanna Lindsey. Do I love it? No, I actually gave it 2 stars just because I wasn't really used to how old school historical romances were. So a lot of the stuff that happened in here I just wasn't a fan of, but it's got one of the prettiest step backs that I've ever seen. I mean, they're in some kind of lake or pond. There are lily pads, a waterfall to the side. Her dress is absolutely not wet at all, but it's gorgeous. I love it. This one is probably one of my favorite step backs from Joanna Lindsey, so even though I don't particularly love this book, I still wanted it with the step back, and I do want to try this book again just to see if I do feel differently about it. I got another step back book, The Magic of You, with this Fabio step back. This one is part of the Mallory series, book 4 I believe, and this series is one that I really need to start. I also got the next book, book 5, Say You Love Me, with this step back. The Joanna Lindsey heroes in the step backs all love leather pants. This one is interesting though because it doesn't have that little edge, so you can't really tell if it has a step back. So I remember directly asking the seller if she could send me pictures of the inside of the book, and luckily it does have a step back. Angel, which is one of her westerns, part of the series, that this was the last book that I needed to complete the series, and this is the step back. You can kind of tell it's a western with the cacti in the back and his gun holstered to his side. And then the last Joanna Lindsey book that I got is this gorgeous cover of So Speaks the Heart. And as much as I love Joanna Lindsey step backs, sometimes her illustrated covers, the ones like these old school ones, they are so stunning. I love them. This is another favorite of mine. I'm pretty much almost done with collecting all of Joanna Lindsey's old school first edition books. I have maybe a couple more step backs that I need and one more of like these kind of illustrated covers to collect, and then finally my wallet will get a rest. I got this Elizabeth Lowell book called Untamed with this absolutely beautiful step back. This one has these pink satin sheets and they're both naked. It's great. This one actually sounds really good. I've never read any of Elizabeth Lowell's historicals. I read one of her contemporaries, but this one has a Crusades knight hero who returns home to Scotland and then who wants his promised bride. There are a couple other Elizabeth Lowell books that look like this, and I'm not sure if I want to collect them, but they look so pretty. Of course, what's a book haul? What's one of my book hauls without Lisa Kleypas? Same with Joanna Lindsey. I'm almost done collecting all of Lisa Kleypas's step back books. This one is one of the ones that I needed, Midnight Angel, because I own it but without the step back, so what's the point? But this one is what the step back looks like. So nice. I haven't read this one yet. I haven't read a lot of her older stuff. This one was published in 1995, but this book has a heroine who was sentenced to die in the gallows, but she fakes her own death and escapes, so it sounds fabulous. I did get 2 new historical romances thanks to Avon, who sent them to me. Eloisa James's new book, Say Yes to the Duke. This is the latest book, part of the Wilds of Lindo Castle series, which I've been enjoying. I like this one, even though surprisingly one of my friends did not like it. We usually have similar tastes in books, but I liked it, she didn't. It's just a really soft and sweet romance. I really like the main characters. He is this big grump who is cold to everyone except for her, and then the heroine is this tiny, shy wallflower who's not so shy with him. And this one also has a step back, not quite on the level of these old school ones, but still nice. And then the second book is Sarah MacLane's new book, Daring and the Duke, which is the third and final book in the Bare Knuckle Bastard series. This one was okay to me. I gave it 3 stars. I wish I could have loved it more just because this couple has been so hyped throughout the whole series. But this whole series I've kind of struggled with. I gave all of them 3 stars, so I can't really be too surprised about my rating. But look at this step back. Also on Instagram, I did get to do an interview with Sarah MacLane, who is awesome. I really love her. She's amazing to talk to, so if you want to check out that interview, my Q&A, it's in my IGTV. I got a Linda Howard book, Mr. Perfect. I guess this isn't quite a historical romance. It's actually one of her contemporaries, her romantic suspenses, I think. But this is one of her most popular books, and I've heard nothing but amazing things for it, so I really wanted it. I want to try it. I've never read Linda Howard before, but I figured this would probably be a good place to start. I also got these 3 Maya Banks historical romances, her Highlander romances. These were one of the very first historical romances that I'd ever read, but I never owned them until now. I got these thanks to Jessica. She has 6 of them near her house, so she always goes to them, and I'm so jealous. But she helped me find these, so thank you, Jessica. Seduction of a Highland Lass is part of the McCabe trilogy about the McCabe brothers, and this series was the first series that I read from Maya Banks. It's still one of my favorite historical romance series. These 2 books are part of her Montgomery's and Armstrong series, which I believe is a spin-off of the McCabe trilogy. I mean, they're all Highlander romances, so more Scottish romances to love. Book 1 is Never Seduce a Scot with a mute heroine. Book 2 is Highlander Most Wanted, and I think there is a book 3, but it hasn't been released yet. It's been pushed back for quite a long time because this book came out in 2013, so it's been what, pretty much 7 years now since the announcement of the 3rd book. That still isn't here. I'll still keep waiting though, just because I love Maya Banks's historicals. I don't really read her other stuff like her erotica or her romantic suspenses. Her historicals are where it's at. I got another Judith McNaught book. This one is Paradise. It came out in 1991, so quite a while ago. It sounds like a second chance romance, so perfect for me. And I swear I'll get to her books soon, probably starting with Kingdom of Dreams, which seems like her most popular. Lorraine Heath was so kind and sent me one of her books, The Duchess in His Bed. This is part of her Sins of All Seasons series, which I haven't read. She's a new to me author, but this one is all about this club that caters to women's fantasies, which I'm definitely into. The hero is its owner. The heroine is one of its new visitors, so sounds great. This one I got on Amazon. It's called Kiss Me Annabelle by Eloisa James. It's a book in her Essex Sisters series, which I honestly haven't really heard too much about, and I didn't even realize I also already own another book in the series. But this has this gorgeous step back. It almost looks like the background is on fire. And when I hauled this on Instagram, a lot of people like responded to the story saying how much they love this series, which I was surprised by because I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. So I am very excited to try this series. I got some more Julie Gardwood books because hell yeah, I love her. Everyone loves her. And this edition that I got of Lion's Lady is so beautiful. It's got this shine to it. It's a little textured. It's the first edition and so pretty. I love it. I was so happy that I found it. I got the gift with this original cover too, which looks really unique. I don't think any of her other historicals ever looked like this. I got Guardian Angel with a cover that matches a lot of her other covers, and a newer version of Rebellious Desire. These are all actually pretty old books. Rebellious Desire came out in 1986, Guardian Angel was 1990, The Gift was 1991, and Lion's Lady was 1988. And I still cannot get over this beautiful cover. I got myself 3 Sherry Thomas books just because I love the first book that I read from her, which was Beguiling the Beauty. That audiobook was amazing. So now I've been trying to collect more of her books. And also she's an Asian author who's writing historical romance. So I need it. The ones that I got are Ravishing the Heiress, which is the second book in the Fitzhugh trilogy. Book 1 was the one that I loved, Beguiling the Beauty. This one though I did listen to and I struggled with, but I still love the cover. Sadly, it's the library edition, so it's got this film to it, which is a little annoying because I didn't know that I got the library book until it arrived. Book 3 is Tempting the Bride, which I also have read. I finished the series. Book 1 is still my favorite, but I really liked Tempting the Bride as well. And the last Sherry Thomas book that I got is Not Quite a Husband. It's a marriage of convenience, and the main characters, they pretty much lived apart their entire marriage and they're finally finding their way back to each other. So these 3 Sherry Thomas books I'm very happy to have. I got a Jude Deveraux book, Knight in Shining Armor, which I've heard a lot of people love. This one might be the original cover, I'm not 100% sure, but it's still gorgeous. It's a time travel romance, historical romance, and I've just heard really good things, so this is another author that I also need to try. I got 2 Beverly Jenkins books. This first one is Wild Sweet Love, which this cover is just gorgeous, love it. But this one, it sounds incredible. As soon as I read the blurb, I knew I needed it. The heroine was the most wanted woman in the West until the law did finally arrest her. Now she's on parole and working as a new housekeeper for this household. Her hero is the boss's son and she hates him, so it's an enemies to lovers romance. I'm really excited about this just because the heroine was, I mean, she used to be the most wanted woman, an outlaw. She sounds great. This second Beverly Jenkins book is Destiny's Surrender. Book 2 in the Destiny series. I recently just finished reading book 1, Destiny's Embrace. It was so good, and this one I am very, very excited about because the heroine is a prostitute and it's also a surprise baby romance. She gets pregnant with the hero's baby and he had no idea until she showed up with their kid. I currently have a hold on the audiobook. Book 3 came in before I was able to get book 2, so I'm holding off until this one comes in. I got this book from St. Martin's Press, When You Wish Upon a Rogue by Anna Bennett. It's another new release. I've never read Anna Bennett before, and this one is not the first book in a series, and I hate reading out of order, although sometimes I end up doing it anyway. But I love this cover. I finally got myself a Joanna Shute book, Prince of Broadway. It's book 2 in the Uptown Girl series, one of my new favorite series this year. I discovered it earlier this year and I'm just obsessed. Again, this is book 2, but you definitely should read the series in order. Book 1 is called The Rogue of Fifth Avenue. All 3 books in the series are about 3 sisters, and this sister wants to own a casino mainly catering to women, and so she wants to learn from the best, and the best is Clayton, another casino owner and a very, very powerful man. These books are hot, very, very steamy. If you like steam in your historical romances, this series is a must read. I also got 2 Elizabeth Hoyt books. These 2 are part of the Maiden Lane series, which I've been slowly collecting. Book 1 I finally have is Wicked Intentions, and at first you'd think it doesn't have a step back because it looks like a fake step back cover, but nope. It does have one, and the step back is stunning. Elizabeth Hoyt always has such nice step backs, and it's a 2-page one too. I also got Duke of Midnight, which sadly is an actual fake step back. There's no step back in it. This series was one of the few that I read completely out of order. I started around book 7, I think, and just kept going from there, so I haven't even touched any of the first 6 books. And the last of my historicals is this big old stack of Amanda Quick books that I found on eBay. It was 10 of them for $15, so I just grabbed it. Have I read Amanda Quick before? No, but everyone raves about her, especially Ravished, which is so many people's favorite Amanda Quick book. I actually own this one, but without the step back, and I was so happy that this edition did have it, because look at this step back. All of her step backs are like this, just out there. There are always more than 2 people on the cover. I'm not sure why, but it still looks epic. Honestly, I don't know too much about Ravish. The blurb is kind of vague, but it's got a scarred hero, so I'm here for it. I also got Desire with this step back. Again, there's more than 2 people on the cover, some people on horseback, I guess, just for the fun of it. Desire has a marriage of convenience. Reckless has this step back with a ship in the back. This time there are 6 people on this cover, and again, some horses. I got Dangerous, and this is what the step back looks like. This one sounds pretty good. The heroine goes to visit the hero who is like about to duel her brother, and she wants to save her brother, so she goes to him in the middle of the night and she ends up being kissed by him. Mistress actually sounds so good. I love the blurb. It's got a secret identity trope. The heroine pretends to be the hero's mistress, and of course he finds out, and now he actually wants her to be his mistress. I got Scandal, which luckily does have a step back. This is what it looks like. There is legit a freaking dragon in this step back, but apparently the dragon is a metaphor for the hero, according to what the blurb says. He's a cold dragon to everyone but the heroine, who he's actually pen pals with. That sounds so adorable. I got Surrender with this really pretty step back. I really like the colors in all of these step backs. They're stunning. And also there's like a recurring theme with someone holding a knife and trying to stab someone in the back. I got Rendezvous, which sadly has no step back. It's a fake one. This couple actually is engaged, but the heroine doesn't want to be, so she goes in the middle of the night to his house to try to break off their marriage, their engagement, and just like the other book, she leaves having been kissed. These last 2 sadly have no step backs. Affair has a bit of suspense going on with a murdered client of the heroine's, so the hero and heroine partner up together to uncover this mystery. And the last Amanda Quick book that I got is Seduction. It's a marriage of convenience with a dark, broody hero whose former wife mysteriously died. I'm excited to read these. I've heard a lot of great things about Amanda Quick, a lot of comments always mention her. I got a bunch of paranormal romances as well. This one is a fantasy romance. The Fiery Crown by Jeff Kennedy. It's apparently a sequel. I haven't read book 1, so I don't really know what it's all about. It is high fantasy. We've got kingdoms, prophecies, royalty, all that good stuff. I also got a couple Nalini Singh books. These 2 books are part of the Guild Hunter series. Book 2 is Archangel's Kiss, and book 5 is Archangel's Storm. This one, Archangel's Kiss, is a continuation of book 1 about Elena and Raphael. This series is more along the lines of urban fantasy though, so their romance kind of develops throughout the whole series. Archangel's Storm is actually about a former side character, one of Raphael's 7. Jason gets his story here. I love it. I love this series so much. If you love angels and vampires and epicness, this series is a must read. I also found myself the original copy of Slave to Sensation, book 1, in the Side Changeling series, which is pretty much the book that started my love for all things Nalini Singh. I do own the new version of Slave to Sensation, but I'm really glad that I finally found myself the original copy, the original cover. The Side Changeling series is paranormal romance, and each book is about a different couple, but I mean, I would encourage you to read the series in order, even though it is a pretty long series, but I swear it is worth it. Each book is just incredible, and Slave to Sensation is one of my favorites. Lucas and Sasha are just my heart. I love them so much. Lucas is the alpha changeling of a pack of leopards. Sasha is a Psy. It's like a kind of like a human, but with powers, magic powers. It's romantic, it's sensual. I love this world building. It's so great. If you haven't read it, please do. Next, I got some Kresley Cole books, some more books in her Immortals After Dark series. I now finally have all the books that I have read, the first 10 books in the series. Book 2 is No Rest for the Wicked. This has a vampire hero and a Valkyrie, a fae heroine. It's enemies to lovers just because the heroine hates vampires, all vampires, because they were the ones who killed her family. Book 6 is Kiss of a Demon King, and of course, it's got a demon king hero. He falls in love with a sorceress and he will do anything to have her. The series is the epitome of fated mates, and they just like, these heroes go all out for their heroines. Book 8 is Demon from the Dark, and the hero is half demon, half vampire, which is not the most common thing. His heroine is a witch. McReeve is book 12-ish, somewhere around there. I haven't read this one yet because I haven't gone past book 10. And I got Deep Kiss of Winter by Kresley Cole and Gina Sherwood. Walter. It's like 2 novellas in this one book. It's basically a wintry, Christmassy bind-up, paranormal bind-up, and the most important book of the lot, and the reason why I bought all of these Kresley Cole books is for this hardcover of Lothair, my favorite book in the Immortals After Dark series and book 10 of the series. We've got an anti-hero who has kind of been a villain throughout the series, kind of a villain, kind of a person who also helps out the main characters, but I love him. He falls in love with a human, of all creatures, a lowly human, so it's great. It's angsty, it's super sexy, like pretty much every single Kresley Cole book. The steam in these books will set you on fire. For some reason, I love having hardcovers of my favorite books in a series, and this is one of them. And also, this copy is in pretty much perfect condition, so happy to finally have this. Speaking of hardcovers, I forgot, I also got myself these 2 historical romances from Lisa Kleypas, Hellish Stranger and Devil's Daughter, which are part of the Ravenel series. Devil's Daughter I have read. This heroine is actually the daughter of Sebastian and Evie from Devil in Winter. Love them, I miss them. I love seeing little snippets of them in the Ravenel series. Hellish Stranger though, I still have not read or haven't finished. I started it a long time ago when I got the ARC, but never finished for some reason. Some contemporaries that I got, Hate Crush by Angelina M. Lopez. This was from Harlequin. It is a fake relationship, a second chance romance, and it's also got some royalty in it. So 3 fabulous tropes all rolled into one. Oh, also I forgot, the heroine now hates the hero because he broke her heart. I got a couple Harlequins. This one is More Than Neighbors by Shannon Stacy. This one is part of the Harlequin Special Edition line. Harlequin Presents Hired by the Impossible Greek by Claire Connolly, and A Harlequin Desire, a reunion of rivals by Reese Ryan. This one has a beautiful cover. And I got this Small Town Romance from Tracy Livesay. She sent me her ARC. It's like Lovers Do. It's part of the Girls Trip series. I love the premise of the series. This is book 2, so I bought myself the ebook of book 1, but it's about a group of these girlfriends, black girlfriends, who go on this road trip together and fall in love in these small towns. I also bought myself The Widow of Rose House by Diana Biller. This one I've heard really good things about. It's not strictly a romance, but it does have a romance in it, and a lot of romance readers do love this book, so I trust them. But it is historical, it's gothic, Gilded Age, and it's got a bit of a ghost story in it, so very intriguing. Next I got Polaris Rising by Jessie Mahalik. This is the first book in her sci-fi series. I own books 2 and 3, but had to give myself the first to complete the series. These are sci-fi romances and not the alien kind. This one has a space princess on the run, and she partners up with an outlaw soldier. All 3 books in the series are about a different couple, but apparently there's an overarching plot throughout the whole trilogy, so need to read them in order. Chaos Reigning is book 3, the latest book in the series that released fairly recently. I got this one thanks to Harper Voyager. This heroine is the sister from book 1, and she has a bodyguard romance. This bodyguard is also hired to be her pretend lover, so fake relationship as well. A couple authors also sent me their books. First, Jen Trin. Thanks to her, I got Falling for You. Jen Trin is an Asian author, and I'm super excited to read her. This is book 2 in the Burl Friends series. It's got a heroine who is a rock climber and in the STEM field. She gets the hero who is a musician to be her rock climbing buddy. Next, Jillian Dodd sent me Kitty Valentine Dates a Doctor. This is book 2. In the first book, Kitty dated a billionaire. Kitty, the heroine, is a romance writer, and she needs to write sexier books to make more money, so she's been dating different men to get more inspiration. And the book also came with this tea that says, "Just eat the damn nachos." Devney Perry sent me Wild Highway. This is book 2 in the Runaway series. I haven't read it yet, but the series centers around road trips. This heroine is going cross country to see her best friend and reunites with a former flame. I got Honor Bound by Joey W. Hill. This is a novella. It's part of the Knights of the Boardroom series, so it's BDSM, erotica, and the heroine actually becomes blind after her latest deployment. Both of the main characters are military people. This one I won in a giveaway from Helena Hunting, A Secret for a Secret. This is book 3 in the All In series, the latest book in the series. I don't know if it's the last book. I don't know if she's writing more after this, but it is another hockey romance. I've read this one. I listened to the audiobook because it's on KU. I really liked it. This hero, he's a professional hockey player, a goalie. He ends up falling for his general manager's daughter, so not the best kind of relationship. I also got Zenny by Rebecca Weatherspoon. This one is the standalone sequel to Rafi. I love both books. This one is a marriage of convenience. Zenny, the heroine, needs to marry this Scotsman in order to inherit some money. The main characters are bi, and I really enjoyed their story. I got this MM romance thanks to Harlequin, Just Like That by Cole McCade. It's an age gap romance. The hero falls for his former professor, and it sounds like it's got the grump and sunshine trope, with the older professor being the grump. I also got these two Nora Roberts books, books 2 and 3 in the Bride Quartet series. I already own book 1. Book 2 is Bed of Roses. Book 3 is Savor the Moment. I love the way these paperbacks are formatted. They've got deckled edges, and they've kind of got a flap like they do in hardcovers. And of course, Nora Roberts is straight up on the back. I have not read this series yet, even though I own book 1. I've owned it for quite a while. I still haven't read it. But these 4 books are wedding romances. The main characters, the heroines, they all own this one wedding planning company. I got, surprise, surprise, a young adult book, but it is by Jennifer L. Armentrout, so I do make exceptions because I love her. This one was sent to me by Inkyard Press. It's a sequel to Storm and Fury, and the series is actually a spin-off of this one Gargoyle series called The Dark Elements. I have read The Dark Elements. I haven't gotten to the series yet. I am excited to get back into this gargoyle world just because it's so unique. I don't really come across gargoyles in any paranormal stuff. Berkeley sent me Love and Other Contagious Diseases by Maddie Sinha. I'm not sure it's like romance because it does sound like it's more along the lines of women's fiction, but the heroine is doing her residency at a hospital. She falls in love with the chief resident. He starts off as a sort of mentor, but then they become more. This is a debut book, so I'm looking forward to this one, and it comes out mid-September. Next, I got Recipe for Persuasion by Sonali Dev, thanks to William Morrow. This is the sequel, the standalone sequel to Pride, Prejudice, and Other Flavors. I read that book. It was okay. I gave it 3 stars, but this one sounds amazing just because it's a foodie romance, and I love foodie romances. And it's a retelling of Persuasion, one of my favorite books from Jane Austen. The whole series are all Jane Austen retellings. Book 1 was a retelling of Pride and Prejudice. So Persuasion, of course, it's a second chance romance. The heroine, she's a chef, and she's invited to join this reality cooking show, and she's partnered up with none other than her first love, who is a famous athlete. This sounds great. I really need to get to it soon. And the last book that I got, also sent from William Morrow, is the new Susan Elizabeth Phillips book, Dance Away With Me. It's been a while since the last time I read a book from SCP. It was years ago. It was Nobody's Baby But Mine, and that book was a trip. And that heroine wanted a baby and got pregnant without the hero knowing. This new book is a small town romance. The heroine, who is widowed, she runs away to the small town and ends up falling for this very tortured hero. Haven't read it yet, but it does sound good. And plus, the cover is so pretty. Those are the books that I got in June, and this is part 2 and the final part to this big old book haul. Let me know what you think of these books, if you've read any of them. I'll link them all down below in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!